Hello viewers, today I am going to tell you about the biography and the contribution of Ustad Inayat Khan, who was the most popular sitar and surbahar player in the early decades of 20th century and the father and guru of legendary sitar maestro Ustad Vilayat Khan. Now let's have a look on early life and background of Ustad Inayat Khan. Born on June 16, 1895 in Etawah of Uttar Pradesh, Inayat Khan was the father and guru of Ustad Vilayat Khan and Imrat Khan, the leading sitar maestros of 20th century. When we look at the musical background of Ustad Inayat Khan, it dates back to 16th century. Inayat Khan's forefathers was musicians for several generations. His grandfather Sahabdad Khan and father Imdad Khan were sitar players of great repute. Sahabdad Khan, Inayat Khan's grandfather, invented surbahar, the bass sitar. Sahabdad Khan was very much influenced by the vocalist Haddu Khan and Hasu Khan of Gwalior Gharana. That is why Dhrupad and Khyal styles were reflected in his playing style and choice of ragas in sitar. Sahabdad Khan initiated his son Imdad Khan to play both the instruments, surbahar and the sitar. When Imdad Khan was very young, his father died and he learnt music from Bande Ali Khan, the Beenkar of Kirana Ghirana, and Rajab Ali Khan of Jaipur Gharana. Imdad Khan later became the legendary sitar player of the late 19th and the early 20th century. He was the court musician of Maharaj Solkar at Indore. That is why Inayat Khan and his elder brother Ustad Wahid Khan spent their early childhood in Indore. Indore in those days was a center where they often got the opportunity to listen to great vocalists and instrumentalists. Therefore, the musical atmosphere at home and around and the proper training helped in emerging Inayat Khan as a great sitarist. Inayat Khan and Wahid Khan both carried their father's tradition. Wahid Khan became a very good surbahar player, while Inayat Khan emerged as a great sitar maestro of the earlier 20th century. Inayat Khan got early training in Dhrupad, Dhamar and Thumri styles of singing and sitar and surbahar instruments. But Inayat Khan was attracted more towards sitar than vocal. So the father Imdad Khan taught him his family style known as Imdad Khani Gharana or Etawah Gharana. After his father's death, Inayat Khan was trained by Aladiya Khan, Ala Bande Khan and Zakiruddin Khan of Jaipur. He used to put almost 8 hours a day for the practice of sitar. There is a very interesting and astonishing story regarding his practice. It is said, and as it is evident from his pictures, that Inayat Khan had long hair. He used to tie his hair with a window behind him so that he may awake with a jerk in case he dozed while practicing. This rigorous practice of 8 hours a day and the way he conditioned himself for practice after all bore fruit, and soon Inayat Khan was listed among the leading musicians of that time. Inayat Khan was married to Bashiran Bibi, daughter of Khyal singer Bande Hussain, and settled with his family in Calcutta. Initially, he was a court musician of Indore, but in 1920, after the death of his father, he left Indore in 1924 and went to Calcutta. In Calcutta, he came into contact with Brijendra Kishore Roy Chaudhary, who appointed him the court musician of Gauripur in Memansingh, which is now in Bangladesh. Brijendra Kishore Roy Chaudhary himself learnt sitar and surbahar from Ustad Inayat Khan. Ustad Inayat Khan's family flourished in Gauripur. His daughter Sharifan Bibi and two sons, Vilayat Khan and Imrat Khan, were born here only. Contribution of Ustad Inayat Khan towards music. Ustad Inayat Khan did much pioneering work on sitar. He standardized its physical dimensions and added the upper resonator gourd or tumba in sitar. His structural modifications in sitar are still used, though his own descendants have stopped using this upper gourd or tumba in sitar. Inayat Khan was a master of sitar and surbahar. He had a great command over rags and sitar too, and he could express any emotion in his sitar playing. Thus, he developed the Gaikiyang in sitar, which is now known as Itawa Gharana. His father Imdad Khan had developed this style for surbahar, and Inayat Khan developed this on sitar. His wonderful Gaikiyang, which is vocal style, presentation is very evident in his 78 RPM recordings. The flair with which Inayat Khan played sitar made him the greatest musician of his generation. Now, let us know in detail about the playing style of sitar of Ustad Inayat Khan. Inayat Khan's playing style may be said the fine blend of tradition and modernity. He used to render traditional style of alap, jod and jhala on surbahar in Dhrupad style without percussion, followed by khayal style composition on sitar with the accompaniment of tabla, with the great improvisation in rhythm and notes with the excellent likaris. The bowls and the right hand strokes became the trendsetter for future generations. At the same time, the lyrical quality of music was preserved in the form of exquisite means, murkis and gamaks. He often experimented in ragas by using Vivadiswar, and that too in such a graceful manner that the listeners were left spellbound. The use of Madhyam Tivra note in Rag Kafi, Shuddh Madhyam in Rag Bhupali and Komal Rishabh in Rag Yaman touched the hearts of the listeners. He had very good command over ragas, so whatsoever the rag he played, that with full command. But his favorite rags were Yaman, Khamaj, Bhairavi, Pilu, Bageshwari, Bihag, Jaunpuri and Multani, etc. Ustad Inayat Khan's recordings have been released on CDs and are available on internet too. Inayat Khan's style and artistry is preserved in the music of his sons, grandsons and the followers. His compositions, his jhala and his right hand's techniques were often reproduced by his illustrious son Ustad Vilayat Khan. It will be no exaggeration if we say that his legendary son Ustad Vilayat Khan flourished this Gaikiyang to its full bloom as a trademark of their gharana in the present period. To my good fortune, myself got a chance to listen to Ustad Vilayat Khan live in his concerts many times and got a chance to interview him personally for my queries. Ustad Vilayat Khan demonstrated several ghats in Rag Pilu that were composed by his father and forefathers. This illustrates the glorious tradition as well as the evolution in sitar playing techniques and innovation. This style is very evident in Inayat Khan's grandson and Vilayat Khan's son Ustad Shujat Khan's style too, whom too I have met and have an opportunity to listen many times. It is also evident from Inayat Khan's son Imrat Khan and Imrat Khan's sons Wazahat Khan, who plays sarod, and Irshad Khan sitar style too. Inayat Khan was a great ambassador for classical music in India. He popularized sitar and made it accessible to the general public. This was the time when many of the famous Indian music festivals were started. Inayat Khan became a regular performer and the leading sitar player of music festivals. His music was the soul of India in those times of the struggle for independence, and he had a great and unrivaled following throughout the country. His contribution to popularize art and culture can be illustrated by his friendship with the Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore, the great legendary writer, artist, poet and musician. These two cultural ambassadors inspired each other to take the arts of India to the new heights. Credit goes to Ustad Inayat Khan for popularizing sitar and bringing it to every home in Calcutta. One time sitar was predominant of all the instruments in Calcutta, but there is hardly any disciple of Ustad Inayat Khan who received the regular and systematic training from him, except Shri D.T. Joshi of Lucknow. Shri Dhruv Tara Joshi is a well-known name in sitar and was a worthy disciple of Ustad Inayat Khan. His son, the great sitar maestro of the present era, late Ustad Vilayat Khan, was very young at the time of untimely death of his father, Ustad Inayat Khan. Inayat Khan died very young in the year 1938 at the age of 43 only, with 4 children. Inayat Khan's wife, Bashiran Begum, who belonged to the family of vocalists, helped to train her 2 young sons, Vilayat and Imrat, after the untimely death of her husband. Vilayat Khan was under the influence of vocalists like his maternal grandfather Bande Hussain and uncle Zinda Hussain, led to incorporation of Gaiki Yang. His emphasis on the purity combined with the dedication and great perfection has made Vilayat Khan the biggest legend in Indian music and culture, who preserved the tradition of Itawa Gharana and of his father Inayat Khan's as well in the present era. Ustad Shujat Khan, Inayat Khan's grandson and Vilayat Khan's son, is carrying the tradition of Itawa Gharana in India and overseas as well. To sum up, we can say Ustad Inayat Khan dedicated his entire life to music, though he lived very short. Ustad Inayat Khan, the great sitar maestro of the first decade of 20th century, popularized sitar to bring it to masses and in his time in every home in Calcutta. He standardized the physical dimensions of sitar and added the upper tumba in sitar. He developed the right hands technique and the gaikyang in sitar playing and flourished Imdad Khan Gharana to its full bloom. In the days of struggle for independence in India, Inayat Khan acted as a great cultural ambassador and gathered unrivaled following throughout the country. In short, Ustad Inayat Khan played, taught and lived with the passion to strengthen the name of his gharana and classical music in the country. Whenever we will talk of Gaikyang in sitar, the name of Itawa Gharana and of course Ustad Inayat Khan and his illustrious son Ustad Vilayat Khan will be remembered above everyone else and forever. Thank you.